Shelby Stone, nice to meet you, finally.
Finally, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
I am so honored to be sitting here with you today.
Well, and I'm a big fan of yours as well, and I'm excited to talk about your debut at Billy Bob's. But first, welcome to the National Cowgirl Museum and Hall of Fame. This place is special to me.
It is so legendary. Like, this is, I can only imagine, like, if I was able to come in as I was a little girl, I would have been really annoying about this the rest of my life. And now I get to start now and people listen. I'm so, the Annie Oakley exhibit and just everything in here. I want a version of it at my house.
Well, more than 200 cowgirls are honored here. Amazing. And it's places like this that tell the stories and keep those legends alive. And you know, it's not just about rodeo cowgirls, but it's about entertainers as well. I mean, I'm sure that you saw Reba and Miranda's display, and those are people you aspire to be. Genuinely.
People will ask, like, who are your influences? I'm like, well, Joan Jett and Reba.
I see that. I hear that in your music. Yeah.
It always throws people for a loop, and I'm like, I don't know how to explain it better. I think it's really special, and it's really cool to watch the title cowgirl encompass so many different things. It's so sweet.
To be a cowgirl and to live in Fort Worth, it feeds your soul every single day.
1000%. And there's so many like-minded people around as well that it's not, I think I heard you in an interview once talk about like the first time you wore a cowboy hat in New York or something. It was like a whole thing, but like here,
there's less people that don't have a hat on than do.
Exactly. I know there are some folks sitting down for dinner that feel a little awkward that they didn't bring theirs. Like, oh, I didn't realize it was a hats on kind of party. But we lived in all the little towns around DFW, but Fort Worth is always where we were because my dad bullfought out here at Cowtown and Billy Bob's and the high school rodeos as well. And so anytime anyone ever asks, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from Fort Worth. Like, tried and true. I think it's 817.
817.
Is the area code.
I first came here 40 plus years ago, so double the age that you are now ago, I came here. But the first time I walked the brick streets of the stockyards, I'd never experienced deja vu before, but I experienced it then, and I felt like I needed to live here. And I packed it up from Arizona, and I moved here. Amazing. And that's how special Fort Worth is to me.
There's just something different about it. I don't know how to explain it. When people talk about wanting to move up here or when they visit, I'm like, I know, man, it's the greatest. It's why we haven't left. That's why I'm not going anywhere.
How does Fort Worth feed your creative juices, and how does it help you melt that cowgirl, Joan Jett rock and roller and bring it all together? It's a great place to inspire somebody, isn't it?
It really is. A lot of it, I think if I think hard enough about it and I do enough of the red string and I'm like, how can I get back to it? Growing up, going to rodeos with my dad, he was a bullfighter. And so I was only on the rough stock side of the arena. The music that was played in between every single rough stock event, it's rock music. They're not playing Brooks and Dunn in between each one of those, which I do rock with some Brooks and Dunn. But there's such a high energy and an adrenaline rush to all of it that I know I wanted to feel that, but not wear baggies and run around in cleats. I'm not that kind of athlete.
So when I see Shelby Stone and when I hear you and I think about your background and knowing your dad, you know, as an icon in the rodeo industry, at what point did you know that this is what you wanted to do? Because I can't picture a 6-year-old Shelby and what we have now.
Right. I know that if 6-year-old Shelby saw me today, we would be so cool. We would be really tight. They'd think this is really cool. And so it feeds the soul. But the moment that it really clicked for me, I had actually moved my sophomore year of college to UT Arlington. And I had a really tough transition going from like a West Texas school, and I cheered there, all those things. But my old roommate had also, I think she had transferred to Tarleton, and she started working at 95.9 The Ranch down there at Sundance Square. And she was like, dude, this job is so much fun. It's super easy. It was also the summer, so there was a bunch of like music series and things like that going on. And I was like, sure, why not? I'll do it. And we worked the stock show, and then like the Weatherford or the Parker County Sheriff's Posse, and seeing music at that stage, like all I'd ever really known was either the worship team or stadium shows. Like I somehow had missed this in between that is incredibly not only sustainable, electric. It is so much fun. I've got so many videos of people like shredding guitar or like a vocalist just wailing that, and I've captioned it with like, God, I see what you do for others. Like, this is what I want to do so bad. And so I was originally going to be a nurse, which y'all are welcome. I saved way more lives bailing on that. But that's when I had immediately changed my major. It was originally going to be broadcasting because I loved radio, and I love that 95.9 is Texas songwriters. It's legends and acts that you've never heard of before, and it just continued to also feed into that like middle ground that was somehow in a single moment became incredibly attainable because it was Christmas. It was after the company Christmas party. We went down to the basement bar there in Stockyards, and one of the DJs and the host, they actually like pushed my butt up on stage, and they were like, "You'll figure it out. Let's just sing one song." Being on the other side of that now, the artists that were playing that night, Godspeed, they earned crowns in heaven for letting just some random girl get up there. And I think I sang Half a Neon Moon, and I remember the tip jar, it's this copper tin. I think they still have it down there. In big Sharpie, it said no wagon wheel. And I was like, this is a whole thing. Like, this is how people are keeping their lights on. There's a culture to this. Like, and so once I was playing down the Stockyards a whole bunch, when they find out you can do the national anthem, you do it everywhere. And thankfully, I haven't messed it up yet, knock on wood. But then I started doing the national anthem at Cowtown Coliseum, and that, I mean, I grew up playing in the dirt down there. Like, it just, I don't know if
That's full circle.
Insanely full circle.
Yeah.
Like, we were there for New Year's Eve for I think it was Buckin' New Year's Eve that they put on. The top corner bar up there, it did not used to be a working bar. It was just dust that my brother and I would draw like shapes and things, and like, it has been amazing. So I don't know that it necessarily clicked in the sense of tying in back, like coming back to like my Western roots, but I think it's so deeply ingrained that
all those pieces of the puzzle
there's
came together.
No way to deny it.
But I love music, and I love to sing really, really loud to the radio going down the street, you know, and turn it up as loud as I can. No one would want me to sing in public. I mean, even when they say join along with the national anthem, even in church, I'm horrible. How did you know you had that gift? Because it's one thing to have the guts to get up on the stage with the tip jar, but you got to know I got a gift.
It took a little bit. I came out of the womb singing, and I remember I'd jump on the trampoline with my sister, because my sister would loan me her iPod. It was, looking back, that was such a cool big sister move, because it really laid some groundwork on like musical interests and things. But I would just jump on the trampoline and sing, or I'd ride my bike and sing, and like the neighbors would jokingly be like, "You sound great." But
no one has ever said that to me, ever.
Well, I think at the time, I think that it might have been like a smidgen sarcastic, more of a compliment to the, I guess, diaphragm and how loud like a 9-year-old could get. But I was going to church in Decatur, and my mom is my biggest cheerleader, and then also keeps me as humble as she can, which is good. It keeps me grounded. But she had actually scheduled a worship or a voice lesson with the lead worship pastor, and was like, "I'm just curious. Like, yes,
is this a talent or?"
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like, we're her parents. We're gonna think she's all right, but like, is this something she can actually do? And then after that, I was on every worship team afterwards, and I was like, okay,
I'm good.
I think I'm not too bad at this. They keep putting a mic in my hand, and I never really thought about it anything further than being on the worship team until I started working at the radio station. And I was like, wait, no, I think I can figure out how to write songs. I already write poetry. Now I just got to figure out how to play guitar. I'm curious though, how in the world, like, you're Pam Minick, Billy Bob's, like, you're a living legend. I hope you know. And I'm trying to play it cool and be like as normal as possible about it. But what has been like your favorite part with getting involved with Billy Bob's as a whole? Like, what an iconic space to be able to put your name on like that. How does that feel like?
My reward every single day was seeing artists succeed. And so, and it, whether it's at Billy Bob's or when I was doing interviews, you know, in professional rodeo or professional bull riding, I always felt like the spotlight needed to be on somebody else, and my joy is seeing that. So my goal, you know, just like now, I hope that you have more people at Billy Bob's than ever before, and every time after that. And so that's always been my jam. My jam is just shining the spotlight on others and bringing out the best in them. And so that's my jam.
I can tell you genuinely have like the biggest like servant's heart. Like that is stunning and hard to come by these days. So I'm grateful that we're
just
sitting
like
here
this museum. I mean, when they decided to move it from Hereford, Texas to Fort Worth, I mean, I was on the ground floor being the cheerleader to open doors and get it built. And now we've had one renovation. Now we're getting ready to have another and a big grand opening in 2027. It's just going to be.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah, fabulous.
I was
or is
looking
it 2026? It might even be this year. I don't know.
Trying to prep for this because I mean, you're the pro here, and I'm trying to make sure that I show up and do my best. I was listening to a few other interviews that you were doing. I think it was in The Loop. You had made the comment, or there was a whole segment on think like a man, work like a lady, or act like a lady, work like a horse. I'm telling you, man, I don't know if you've ever thought about doing merch of any kind. Koozie, hat, t-shirt, stickers.
Most of the great sayings that I live by, I've stolen or found.
Yeah. So am I. And I feel a little bad like admitting that, but I feel better now.
Well, you know, and it's kind of, though, what's guided your life and my life is one of the biggest quotes that I live by is to find something that you love to do and do it so well that people will pay you for it. And then you never work a day in your life. And that's how I've spent the last 70 years. And hopefully the same for you, because if you love it, nothing else matters.
No, it's
nothing
not a job
else
at
matters.
that point.
Yeah.
My mom has instilled that into me from day one. Find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
And
you did.
Yeah, this is not a real job. It doesn't come with health insurance, but like, I can write off hair dye technically. Like, what? This is
what's not to love about that.
I get to do arts and crafts, and that's all. Like, what in the world? And that, I love that.
So anyway, so I love that
Yes.
saying. There's, there's so many sayings that I just find, and I go a lot to like 4-H and FFA and high school rodeo, and I'll talk to girls about what does their future look like, and not only what does their future look like, and how to have fun and have a good job at 30 and 40, but then how to be 70 and still be relevant. Because I think that in itself is a task, and Reba's my role model for that. Reba and Dolly are people that are just like still going, still loving it, still relevant. So that's the key. You know, longevity is something that you've got to consider as well. Is it sustainable?
Wow, we are cut from the same cloth. Oh my goodness. When people ask like, what is y'all's goal here with like music and things like that? Like, it's like this is all I want to do, and everyone's
You don't want to be a flash in the pan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone's time at the top is incredibly short, and so I would love to make substantial and sustainable steps to reach the top. That way, once we're there, we can just hang out. Like we don't like. Everyone's got a different definition of success, and I think that's really beautiful. I would love to play stadiums, but I would also like to have my flag planted the way that Dolly and Reba do, which is one of the questions I was going to ask you.
Okay, roll on. Let's go.
Who did you look up to when you were first starting out? Like,
you know what's funny is that it's been so long ago I can't remember, because I just wanted a horse, and I wanted to be a cowgirl, and so I can't really say that there was anybody other than Barbara Walters, which is so weird because that's not a cowgirl. But I was drawn to her interviews. And so I read her book, I read Dale Carnegie. I just wanted to be in that space and tell stories. I feel like when I was in high school, I worked in the PR department of a hotel.
Fine.
And so that way you learn to be a storyteller. and I've spent the rest of my life telling stories.
You're amazing at it, but Barbara is such a great example of like cowgirl being more of a way that you carry yourself in if you don't happen to have livestock or if you don't happen to be known for that, but like that's about as cowgirl as it gets. I had read that in the 360 West that you were the first woman sideline reporter in any sport, which kudos, that is so rad. I need to pull it together and not just like geek out over you in front of you. But did you realize that at the time, that you were the first one?
No, because sometimes the best man for a job is a woman. And so in that case, I was the best person for the job. You know, it was the first time that rodeo was going to be live on CBS, and they wanted to have a sideline reporter. So there was me and Donnie Gay and Jim Shoulders, and of the four of us, I was the best person to ask the question. So it wasn't like I didn't plan it, but I also knew my stuff. And so, you know, and when people say, you know, you paved the way, well, I didn't know that at the time. I was just doing a job, walked through a door that was opened, and just kept walking.
But what a standard you've set, though, that like, I guess it's just a testament to your work ethic and the way that you treasure your craft and you take pride in your craft, that like, no, this is the way that you do it, Pam Minick or nothing. Like,
I just try to be authentic and not fake.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's nothing fake going on here, except my eyelashes.
Girl, me too.
Yeah.
The best man for a job is a woman. I hope y'all are keeping a list of things that would make a really good sticker, koozie. Like, just what, you know.
I stole that one too.
It's perfect. What, in your experience, makes the cowgirl culture and experience unique to other backgrounds?
Well, I think that, I keep going back to the word authentic, but when you've grown up around livestock, you learn responsibility. And I think that that's a foundation that we could use in all walks of life. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about going into business or going to the ranch or going into sports.
Right.
Having a great foundation, having responsibility, I don't know if this is a word, but it's one that my mom used a lot, stick-to-itiveness.
Yes.
You know, and people use that a lot, but just sticking with the plan, you know, or making a new plan. Pivoting is an art and being successful, but those are the things that I think are relevant about being a cowgirl and life in general.
Trying to get my start with this, my entire team, we joke about it all the time. We call it, it's synonymous for stick-to-itiveness, but committing to the bit. Just commit, follow through, see if it works. Like, a lot of people, they don't give anything enough time to take root and see if it'll actually work.
And if it doesn't, pivot.
To be able to reroute and recognize, all right, I can commit to the bit all day, but if I maybe move 5 feet over, I'll stop hitting rock as I'm trying to dig. In what ways do you in your daily life and in your work life try to promote or put forward the cowgirl and Western culture?
What you see is what you get. I mean, I'll go places dressed like this, and now I don't wear rhinestones every day, but I did for you.
I did too.
But I do dress like a cowgirl every day, but it's not dressing like a cowgirl, it's just what I do. And I love it when I go places and somebody will say, nice costume. And I just go, this is not a costume, this is how I dress every day. And I mean, for me, it's boots, belt, shirt, jeans, usually a hat, and my hat came in very handy when I was going through chemo for leukemia, because I lost my hair and a lot of people didn't even know. They're like, oh, I love your hair short. Well, guess what? It's better than bald. But a hat is good for a lot of things, but it's good for making a statement and being a cowgirl. So my daily life is the Western industry. So I can't say that I consciously support it or promote it. It's what I live. I live it.
That's
you know, and I think a hat company might have used that slogan. We live it every day, just joking.
No,
Yeah.
you're so, well, I was not necessarily bragging, I was more so stressing to my friends. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to sit down with Pam. And they were like, what are you going to talk about? And I was like, I think just obviously Cowgirl Couture and figured out all of that. But I was like, so essentially just Pam Minick. Like just everything you stand for.
How many
everything.
rhinestones in your closet? Yeah.
Right. And that's, I don't hardly wear them, but I also pulled them out just for you as well.
Good.
But I love that the way that you carry yourself, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, that it is still authentic. Man, they're going to get sick of hearing that word by the end of this episode. That's
Do
just,
not put that on a t-shirt. So I want to talk a little bit more about you and about your style, because you are a cowgirl. I mean, there's no faking it. There's a few people in the music industry that want to act like they're cowboys and cowgirls, and there's an even shorter list that actually are. You're one of those. But then, on the other hand, you're pretty far out there in the way that you are. How do you blend that authentic cowgirl with this look that I'm just a little bit punk?
It's kind of similar answer where it's like it's just what I wear. Thankfully, like I've got nice hats. I used to work at National Roper Supply, and so I was able to make really cool connections and get nice boots. And like this is my dad's belt buckle. And when I was doing those anthems, you have to be in PRCA dress code when you're on the arena floor. And so Dad had told us that he had set one aside for everybody, and so I took the least flashy one because I'm the most humble. Don't believe me, just ask. But thankfully, it's just kind of always how I've dressed. And then the blue hair kind of started coming in, and then like I've got a jacket with a bunch of pins and patches. Like it was never something that I had like think too hard about. The only thing that that it took learning, and I'm very grateful for the grace that. I'm just glad I wasn't huge on the internet, pretty much. But I had no idea surrounding like Native American made jewelry. Oh. That was the one that was it. And it's the first thing I see other people buy loads of. I had no idea like the art and the history and the heritage around it. Which yes, it does take a second to build up the collection, but now I have like a much finer appreciation for it. And it's also literally not costume jewelry. So
yes.
It's helped kind of pull me out of the costume allegations, I guess you could say.
Well, when you look around the Cowgirl Hall of Fame in this museum, so many of the cowgirls that we think of as the foundation of the rodeo industry were performers. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think about, Tad Lucas and Mamie Halfley and a lot of these ladies, that this museum was founded because of their grit and because of their showmanship. Because when they went to a rodeo, they were a paid performer. Yeah. They weren't necessarily competing. And I think it's so cool to have you here and have you be in that same spirit. I mean, you're a performer, but you're also authentic. And I mean, I think you fit right in here.
That is very high praise. That is so sick. Thank you. That's showmanship. That's what I've been looking for the last 45 minutes.
I grew up in Las Vegas.
Fun.
Grew up going and watching dinner shows. I mean, like I'm old enough to remember Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and people like that. But they were, I would call them singers, not so much performers.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. Well, then all of a sudden comes Cher. And I would tune into her show or go to her show in Vegas just to see how many costume changes there were. Because to me, when people, especially in your situation, I mean, me being an interviewer, that's a whole different thing. But people are paying their hard-earned money to listen to you, but they also want to walk away from there and say, damn, I was entertained. It wasn't just a good singer, but I think you've got that quality of entertainment as well.
As I'm navigating this entire scene, there's so many different avenues and realms, and there's songwriters, there's artists, there's entertainers, and there's vocalists. And you can be all four, or you can be a really fun little like mash game of it. But
How do you think your upbringing in the Western world has influenced, not only your music, but who you've become, your persona?
it kind of ties back to a comment that you had made about like the responsibility and things that come with growing up around livestock or in the rodeo or ranching realm, that there are core principles that a lot of people, I understand that it's a luxury to get to grow up around 2,000-pound beasts that, God forbid, get a tummy ache, but it comes back to like the work ethic of it all, the stick-to-itiveness, and like one of the rules we had growing up was they eat breakfast before you do. They didn't ask to be here. You go feed them, and then you can have your breakfast. And I think it comes down to like the integrity and the work ethic of things, and that's just what I was always. That was the ground floor. That was what we started with, and now everything I set my hand to do has the same. I don't know how to do anything half-assed, pretty much, because of it. Like, yeah, I can't. There's
all in.
That wasn't an option there. You can't. If you're going to bust waters when it's 4 degrees outside, you have to bust it all the way. Like, you can't just make a small hole. It's going to freeze back over. Like, all of those like small, like attention to detail kind of things. Thankfully they stuck, because those were some brutal mornings.
Let's talk about songs. How has your upbringing and who you are and what you want to do influence some of the songs, and what are some of the songs that you want people to hear and hear little lines in them that really resonate with you?
I've been trying to figure out how to write about growing up in the rodeo realm in a way that is not hokey. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew you'd understand. This is really filling my cup. I hope you know. But because and then also in a way that hasn't already been said.
Right.
Because I mean, you've got like your cowboy poets that, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. They are master classes.
But putting that to music,
right? Yeah, I say. But thankfully, I grew up with like listening to Chris Ledoux, and it was like, oh, that was such a great way to do that.
Let's talk about Billy Bob's. What does stepping on stage as a headliner at Billy Bob's? Well, first of all, did you dream of this day?
I thought it'd be a lot farther in the future, truth be told. Because growing up, Dad would bullfight out there, and I remember I'd sit in the stands, and Mom would walk me to the restroom, and I remember seeing the lights and how loud it was, and just like all the people. And at the time, I hadn't quite like grasped. Like, I wish I could remember like who was playing on those same weekends. We were there all the time, so who knows. But I remember just being like, oh my God, this is super sick. But that's from a child's perspective. And then when coming back, working at the ranch, I remember there was a week, I think it was Thanksgiving week. I was there like 4 days in a row. But it was like William Clark Green, Cody West, Parker McCollum, and I think the Bellamy Brothers. So there was like a healthy range of music too, that I remember sitting back there, because where the ranch sets up, it's right by that main entrance. And just watching everybody come in and be so excited, and like in the crowd roaring when someone would step on stage. It's like, wow, I can only imagine like what that feels, that's got to feel so cool, like truly so cool. And then watching my friends come out, and like Slade Coulter, when he had his debut show, he invited us out, and his guitar player was my guitar player as well for a little bit. His name's Clay Spidell. He does a phenomenal rendition of Alabama by Cross Canadian Ragweed, and Slade gave up his last song for Clay and I to sing. And just even like those small moments of like, oh my God, I wonder what it's like for this to be my stage for the night.
And now on the billboard,
yes,
in the roundup, in front of Billy Bob's, it's gonna say Shelby Stone.
I'm so incredibly grateful. Like, it is just, these are the things that I've been praying for. I'm a very big vision board kind of girl. Write the vision, make it plain. Billy Bob's logo has been on that thing every single year. When I remake it, I just reuse the same one. This is such a legendary venue. I'm still like, I think we first got the offer summer last year. It's February. I still haven't quite grasped it. Like, how I feel undeserving not in the way that like.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get awards or recognized for stuff, and I'm like, who are you talking about? Because that surely isn't me. It's a little bit of imposter syndrome.
1000%.
But you said something about the Bellamy Brothers that week. They just celebrated 50 years in the music business. 50 years.
They're legends.
Think ahead. Shelby Stone is 76. Where do you see yourself in 50 years?
Man, I want to kind of be I don't necessarily want to be a road dog because I'm already struggling. I've only been doing that for a little bit. But just to be able to comfortably make music and pack out rooms of people that sing my songs, and because it's kind of been a transition for me. I've only headlined one other time, and it was at the Mercury Lounge in Tulsa. To switch the mindset of, I don't have to win these people over, I've already won them over.
They bought my ticket.
Yes,
Yeah.
I look forward to being confidently in that headspace that, no, these are my people. This is my fan base, this is my family, these are the people that got me here. Like, just to be comfortable in, I base a lot of my self-worth in like productivity. Don't know where that comes from, we'll unpack it on another day. But the thing that when I think about Billy Bob said, I'm like, no, stop, pause. This is what you've been working for. Just don't think about how you're gonna have to follow that up yet. You can the day after. Just be proud of this.
And enjoy it.
Yes, and recognize the monument, not just for myself, but for my band and for my team that we started doing this, and my first show was Valentine's Day of 2020. It's been 6 years. How are we here? And I give a lot of that credit to the team that I work with. I work with another songwriter named Dalton Domino. And him and his wife and everybody that is in their circle, the way they've just fostered the growth and given me a space to blossom pretty much. I'm just really proud of it. And I'm working on the difference between having pride, like taking pride in what I do, and the pride that the Bible tells you not to have. And so I'm working on that, and to be able to, what a place to have to work it through with in regards to is Billy Bob's world's largest honky tonk. Like, it's as iconic as it gets. And it's also I'm notorious about forgetting to mention this part. It's my album release.
Let's talk about, well, first of all, let's talk about the album, and then it just happens to be coming out at a special time. So talk about the album.
The album is the way I feel about the album is the closest I can feel to like having a firstborn without having one of those, because we might get around to that, who knows. I think it took us 3 years to finally finish out, and like we're also working on some like deluxe things to slip in even maybe a little bit later. On one of the songs, when I first sat down with Dalton, I brought him 10 songs. They were rough, very rough. But one of the songs from those 10 made it on that record, and it's a song called Fight or Flight. I'm so proud of this dang thing. I have no idea what genre to call it. I don't know, like working with Dalton and working with the other songwriters that I work with, all they've done is cultivate a space to create, and did not box me in other than anything other than, hey, you can't rhyme miss with miss. Like, you gotta find a new rhyme there. None of my songs are 2.5 minutes long. That is a weird thing that's happening in the music industry. I think there's a few on there that have like 5-minute long songs, which is unheard of these days. It's just, what a cultivation of like my early 20s. Like from the stories to the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into making it. And we crowdfunded it as well, which that was a new thing for me. I was a little hesitant towards it because I was like, well, I don't want handouts. Okay, well, it's not handouts. They're purchasing something to help provide everything that we need. And I think a big part of that also helped build out my fan base as well. And so now it's like...
They're owners.
Yes,
they're owners, yeah.
What is it, buying stock? I don't really know how stocks work, but I think that's similar. So when we finished it, I didn't want to have to make everybody that crowdfunded and like helped make it happen. It felt silly to make them also have to wait for like the whole record release cycle and all that BS. So I just sent it to him. I was like, thanks, it's done, here you go. But we know that—
Enjoy.
Yeah, pretty much, hope you like it, let me know what you think. But we know that links are gonna get sent out no matter what. And so if everybody was talking about it, if they couldn't get a hold of the link, you can go buy it, because the streaming realm it's not the enemy, and it's not going anywhere. But I've got people that buy my merch, and I got people that buy my records. So my streaming numbers do not match what's happening here, and I'll figure that one out eventually. But I'm gonna reward who's been there from day one. And thankfully, we've been telling people, we're like, well, if you don't want to buy it, that's fine. It comes out April 3rd, which is the same day as my Billy Bob's debut. So we were making it like a whole shebang. And it even more so, like talking about, like, these are the things that I've been praying for. This is what we've been working for, to be able to not only headline Billy Bob's, but to be able to put my debut record out on the same day. Hell yeah, 2 birds with 1 stone. Like, I'm just being able to soak it in.
1 stone. Get it? So one fun thing throughout my career at Billy Bob's, spending 35 years there at the world's largest honky tonk, I've seen a tremendous amount of ladies step across that stage. And maybe it's because, you know, I'm such a cheerleader for women, and not being rewarded for being a woman, but just being the right person for the job.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was like, I've always appreciated that about you, that it's not just because they're women, it's because they're good at what they do.
Yeah,
the least interesting thing about them is
when I think
they're
about some of those ladies, and I think about, you know, we've mentioned Reba, we've mentioned, Dolly Parton has never played Billy Bob's, but I remember a young Faith Hill. I remember Dina Carter walking out on stage with bare feet and everybody thinking it was so weird. So let's talk a little bit about the impact and the imprint that you're going to make as Shelby Stone steps onto the stage.
I'm very, very blessed to be in the position that I am. Not everybody gets handed a microphone or is put under the spotlight. Man, I just hope that it shows that to just show up as yourself and to do a good job. For this next round, I call it the graduating classes of, at least of music, and whether it be music or not, just to, like, even before I wanted to do music, I've always loved Reba's character and everything that she stood for and how loving she was, and same with Dolly, and in the way that Taylor Swift works. Like, even before I even thought about doing music, my hope is that I can leave a similar impression.
Everybody remembers where they were the first time they heard a song played, and I think that music brings so many people together because it's such an emotional attachment. And I think that you have that. When I listen to your songs, first of all, the first thing that I think of is how amazing your voice is.
Thank you.
And then I listen to the words, but the voice has got to grab me first, so the voice will grab you. So I take that.
Thank you.
But I do have a question. So, you know, you talked a little bit about Dalton and about Whitney. And I'm wondering, because of Whitney's background and because of her being a horse girl as well, being, you know, having a strong familiarity in the rodeo industry, how do you think that has fed and helped them to understand who you are at your core?
It has been, I call her like my translator. I compliment her brain often. Like, prime example, one of the album covers I wanted was this dapple gray. I saw it here at Will Rogers. It had like feathered feet, but it wasn't like fully draped. I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And I remember I'd called Dalton and I was like, I need a bomb-proof horse. He was like, pardon me? He grew up in Memphis, and he lived out in Lubbock for a little bit too. And
you're like, Whitney will understand.
That's exactly, I was like, is Whitney nearby? Can she explain this? Can she translate for us? And it's just been a lot of little things like that where if I'm searching for, I'm like, do you remember this? Like when we were doing this growing up, or like, was this a rule y'all had when y'all were growing up? And being able to, it's very validating, and I'm very, very grateful for, with her and I together, you've got both ends of the arena. And so and honestly, it's given me some street cred. I'm so proud to know Whitney and Dalton and everything that both of them have worked so hard for, and their legacy, as well as obviously Ricky's legacy.
do you compare the music industry with the rodeo industry?
It is almost identical. We just have different stages. Half the time we don't, actually. I don't know if you've ever been to an after party at a sheriff's posse, but it's, you have to be a competitor. Like, you have to be an athlete. You also have to have a commitment to your craft and invest in your craft. That it's, anybody can just go buy a guitar, but can you put on a show? Anybody can just go buy a horse, but can you ride it? Like, which is such a, what a summarization of all of that. But it is, so I had someone explain that, like, the rodeo world, in regards to, like, people, it runs narrow and deep. Same with the music industry, and honestly, I think that might be a circle, with, especially when you have venues like Billy Bob's that have bull riding and the stage. It physical toll might not be quite the same, at least in the rough stock realm.
Well, you never know.
And I know a few folks that have missing fingers. Can't say that a guitar player's ever lost a thumb while they're playing, but you have to be a competitor. You have to have a competitive nature and have the same type of showmanship where you show up and you put your uniform on, not your costume, or what you're typically going to wear. Just the investment in your craft. It's mirrored.
It has been so much fun to get to know you deeper. I mean, I feel like I've watched you grow, I've enjoyed you, but to get to know you and to know what makes you tick, and to get to celebrate you at Billy Bob's. Tell us a little bit more about where you're gonna be, when it's gonna be, and so that everybody can come see you.
April 3rd, I believe it's a Friday. Fort Worth, Texas, at the world's largest honky tonk, Billy Bob's, Texas.
And your album release.
It is. It'll be Silveryear official release. It'll be out in the streaming world. And if I remember correctly, we might have some extra goodies at the merch table that were previously sold out that we'll have restocked by then. They happen to be very large and very blue. So definitely come hang out if you missed those the first time around. But that's why I was hoping so badly that I had like a spare one that I could come and bring you a vinyl record. That way I could be like, look, because we made sure that they're the same kind of blue.
But there'll be more.
There will be more.
Yeah.
There will be more, and like just in think the timeline of it all works out just in time for Billy Bob's. And truth be told, I don't want to go home with any. I hope Billy Bob's buys them all. Like,
well,
everybody that comes
to
out
have
there.
you, an authentic cowgirl, at the Cowgirl Hall of Fame, and telling the story of cowgirls and something that young women can aspire to be, and seeing your heart and seeing your authenticity, it makes me so proud, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I hope you know that you've set the tone, that every person, like Because I've kind of put little bugs in people's ear. I'm like, I gotta talk to Pam. And they're like, oh my God, when I grow up, if I could be like anybody, it'd be like Pam Minick. So I hope you know that.
Overrated.
Oh, please. Oh my goodness. So know that this really means a lot to me. And so if you're not doing anything April 3rd, I'd love to hang out.
You know, Billy Bob's anniversary is April 1st, so that whole week we'll be celebrating. Yeah.
I'm just gonna park my butt there. Just hang out.